Hello, and good week, everyone. Um, we'll start with the Maisa from Baal Shem Tov, the Baal Shomer Emunim. Um he's Rabbi Aaron Roth of Satmar in Romania. He's the first Rebbe of the Shomer Emunim, told the Saran, you know. So he said that once he was very ill, and he laid 3 hours unconscious until he started perspiring, and B'ezrat Hashem, he felt better. And he said that his neshama was already in the upper world, and he saw neshama in the Baal Shem Kodesh that is going along with his Talmidim. So he asked him, who is that? This is the Baal Shem Kodesh. So he came to him and asked him to bless him with Refuah Shleima. So the Baal Shem Tov asked him, what connection do we have? Do I know you? Do you know me? You ever were by me? So Baal Shem Emunim said that his Rabbi Michael Zlotchev was the Talmud of Baal Shem Tov. Every Shalashudas, and he would Shabbos Kodeshi said a Ma'aseh from the Baal Shem Tov. One time it was very late. He says, and the Rebbe already took my right? He forgot to say the Ma'aseh from you, so I reminded him that he still didn't say any stuff from the Shem Tov, and I understand that if my Rebbe told the Ma'aseh from you, B'vadai, you, the Baal Shem Tov, had great pleasure from it. And I ask you to say for Shlomo. He said the Maisa. I, reminded him. You bevada had nachasur from that. So the Baal Shem Tov said, yeah, and he put his head on the head of the Baal Shem Emunim, and he started perspiring, and slowly became better and for Shlomo. And the Chayzak Kodesh of Lublin said, if anybody came to me and told me that he saw the Baal Shem Tov climbing up a ladder, going up to heaven with his body while he's still alive, with his body, with his clothes, I will believe him. Because everything that you tell of the Baal Shem Tov, it is befitting to believe. This is, especially the second Mason, is a very important cornerstone in Emunas Tzadikim. We go through stages as we become close to Yiddishkeit. When we were younger, we discovered Yiddishkeit, or we were already in Yiddishkeit and we were rediscovering that at a certain stage we discover the tzaddikim, the Emunas tzaddikim. What does it mean, Emunas tzaddikim? What does it mean? What do we believe about the tzaddikim? Now, it is really in a very ethereal subject. What do we believe about them? What do we believe about the tzaddikim? And the Emunas tzaddikim, at least by me, was like a moving target. It's something that for many, many years, in the very beginning, it was just a blind emunah, Baruch Hashem, that I believed that the tzaddikim were miraculous, which they are, but because of my own state of mind, because of where I came from, um, it was fantastic to the point that it really had no connection to reality. I mean, they could do things. It's almost like Lahavdil Elf of Avdolos was like some kind of a B'Kedusha, a super powered Harry Potter of some sort. They could do things. Because the shame is that technique, they could do this, and they were holy, and it was like, and then, and this is something that was quite easy to digest for me. Okay, I mean, I read all the masses from the tzaddikim, and I met some very, very holy Jews, and it was easy to believe. The first uh, reversal wasn't reversal, was a step backwards. I mean, I had to finally get out from this belief that the tzaddikim, like the Baal Shem Tov, like the Baal Tanya, like the Maggid of Mezrich, like the Choizer, like Rabbi Melech, that the Rebbe came a finished product from heaven. That's pretty easy to believe, no problem. He's this and I'm that, and finished. Says there's no kindness to me, there's no complaints to me. Why am I not? A tzaddik? What do you want? To be tzaddik, you have to be born a tzaddik. You have to come down to the world like I don't know, like an alien of some sort. And the truth is that until today, in many Hasidic circles, that's the belief that the Rebbe is just. It's like there's like a horse was born a horse, and a person was born a person. So I was born a horse, and the Rebbe was born a person. I was born a person. The Rebbe was born a tzaddik, and that's it. There's no. But when I started learning about Rabbeinu, this is when the trouble started, because now I had to believe that all these levels of Kedusha, all this fantastic abilities and powers and whatever it is something that was worked on, something that was achieved. And the minute that I started believing, I found out that this is what it is, that the Baal Shem Tov was a Baal Shem Tov because he worked that hard at it, you know. It's like in order to be a top violin player, you have to be born a prodigy. But unless you're going to work on it, you're not going to become Yasha Heifetz or Isaac Perlman or any one of those, okay? Lahavdil Elf of $5 is about being a tzaddik. Yeah, and Achinami, it's a special neshama and whatever it is that you want. Yeah. But it has to be worked on tirelessly, single-mindedly, with a singular, tunnel vision focus that only Avodas Hashem. That's the tachlis in this world. And this is when my problems start, because a certain part of me suddenly understood that if this is how you become a tzaddik is something that you become because you work on it. You work on it, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu sanctifies you from above, and this is how you become a tzaddik. it depends on you, suddenly it put the onus on me. I have to work for it. Why am I not a tzaddik? Why am I not? Because I'm not working on it. I'm doing a little here, a little there, Baruch Hashem, whatever it is, whatever I'm doing, Baruch Hashem, everything is good. But basically, I'm taking the easy way out. And it sort of developed almost like a resistance within me. Like all these stories, and you're calling it the Rebbe's holy hand, the Rebbe holy mouth. And I had like a resistance inside me, like, it's like, why are they saying all these things about him? Who says who? Kind of like, this kind of thing. And the Yetzer Hara is the biggest, on the biggest tzaddik. The bigger the tzaddik, the more relevant the tzaddik is to your life. The bigger the causes. Because the Yetzer Hara is going to let you believe whatever you want on all the tzaddikim that cannot help you, that cannot change you. But the tzaddik that can actually change you, that's the one that brings all the dander up. It brings all your resistance up. This is the story of this week's Parsha with the brothers selling Yosef. Because until then, Baruch Hashem, Shivteka, they were the holy Shvatim of Am Yisrael. I mean, it's the immense, impossible to imagine the greatness of the Shvatim. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. You can. Yet there came the Tzaddik Emes, and the Tzaddik Emes is Yosef. And Yosef tells them something that drives them to sell him as a slave. He tells them they have to receive from him. They have to receive from him, from the Tzaddik Emes. And suddenly, there is, you thought that you're already home free, and you haven't even begun. The tzaddik, the tzaddik, the tzaddik, the tzaddik. The emunah in the tzaddik is predicated on the emunah that you believe in yourself. The tzaddik is somebody that if you were to work on yourself throughout your life, from the moment go, all the time, focused on that, you could be like him. Not the tzaddik emes lamita, that's a different animal altogether. Besides the neshama, the shmaya, the whole thing, but without the endless work. Rabbeinu says flat out, he says the main thing that tzidkis depends on is how hard you work. Whoa. That means I can't sleep, I can't rest on my laurels. And he's becoming a tzaddik, and the tzaddik can help you, that you can lean on. A tzaddik that can, and you can, in Olam Haba, when you're Bezin Shel Malach, he put his hand on your head, and you can become healthy again. That the Chazal being said that had you believed, the Baal Shem Tov walking up, on the ladder after Shaman with his clothes, and, while alive, he would believe it, because about Baal Shem Tov, you can believe anything. This is achieved with non-stop work and toil and facing challenges non-stop. The tzaddik is the spiritual tycoon. Non-stop. Let's take a little sojourn into the Sichos Haran for this week. This is Sicha 294. I heard from his holy mouth, from Rebbe's holy mouth, that the days of Elul, that Am Yisrael say tikkunim, and various tefillas and various supplications after the tefillah, and they stay in shul, they stay later in the Besmedrash. He said that from the nigun of the tikkun ezer, and the fact that the heart is aching and weak because of this stay in the Besmedrash later, he says that creates stupendous inyanim up in Shemaim. We spoke about this basic principle, but what does it mean that it does thing in the Shemaim? The very fact alone that when a person is busy being kedusha, it's not just like, I'm working on it, I'm saying tikkun ezor, I'm staying in shul, I'm davening and begging Kodesh Baruch Hu, and now maybe I get there, maybe I don't get there. If I get there, people get more, people get less. So the Rebbe in this Sikha, the Rebbe told us that from the very basic doing, the way that your body feels, that creates universal spiritual realities. You didn't know this about yourself, did you? You are an angel creating machine. Whatever it is that you do with the thoughts that you think, and whatever it is that you feel while you're busy doing good stuff, and chas v'chalila, if you're not doing good stuff, influences the entire universe, not just the physical universe, all the spiritual universes. You are basically a walking, talking, thinking, feeling godliness. That's what you are. And above that, you have tzidkis. You become a tzadik. If you work hard at it, you become a tzadik, which totally defines nature, doesn't even fit into the definitions, the natural definitions. B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow night is the first light of Hanukkah. Hanukkah comes from the verb of chinuch, of apprenticing, of a chanich is an apprentice. Now, being an apprentice is like a midway situation. Let's say that somebody's a baker, okay? Now, you need to know how to bake. If you're a baker, I mean, we don't care that, you don't get an A for trying. Either you know how to bake or you don't know how to bake. Now, if you're not a baker, it doesn't make, you can make mistakes, no problem. Because nobody expects perfection from you. You don't know how to bake. You're not a baker. But if you are a baker's apprentice, it puts you like in between. You are learning how to become a baker, which means that you're expected to make mistakes. In fact, by making the mistakes, you'll learn how not to make mistakes. Chanukah is, we are being apprentices in Avodas Hashem. We are learning how to be bakers. We are learning how to be servants of Hashem. But we are not fully baked bakers. We are apprentices. It's Chanukah. Chanukah. We are apprentices. It's okay if we make mistakes. We need to learn from these mistakes, and overcome these mistakes, and learn the strategy how not to make these mistakes. For a baker, don't, if you forget to put the baking soda, the baking powder, then this, if you don't put the yeast, then he doesn't, whatever it is, You learn. You don't put too much, don't put too little. This is how you learn how to behave, how to work with it. Chanukah is the entrance into Avodas Hashem. And Chanukah is Yemei Hoidah, is the days of thanks, of giving thanks and praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the first step of stepping into Avodas Hashem. The first thing that you'll learn as an apprentice, Oved Hashem, is to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Look at you. Just look at you. Look at your life, Baruch Hashem. Look at everything, every breath you take. The fact that you are, a godly machine. That even the way that you feel when you're saying Tehillim and you're staying in shul long, and it takes its toll on you, changes the spiritual map of all the universes. Because Baruch Hu made you that way. I'm not even talking about Olam Haba. I'm not talking about, reaping the benefits of Olam Haba. I'm not talking about that. Just in this world. But tomorrow is the first light of Hanukkah. So it definitely, some say that it's an obligation. Most poskim says that it's a good advice. But nevertheless, when you light the candles of Hanukkah, sit by the candles and watch them for half an hour. The half an hour that's supposed to to be lit, and speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You look at the light again. The light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is inside those candles. The Shekhinah is lighting in this world. Through the lighting of this Neres Chanukah, it's a mitzvah. Look at it and speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you open up a siddur, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in the siddur. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Neres Chanukah. Just speak to him and beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu to bring you in, to learn how to be an Oved Hashem. It's a learning that you're all the time learning how to learn. Hashem should help us with Hashem. Have a good week. Should have Bezat Hashem an amazing Chanukah. And Bezrat Hashem will also have a good Chodesh. Next Shabbos is Rosh Chodesh. Tevis. Amazing stuff. So, Bezrat Hashem, as I said, we have a good week. Because Baruch Hu should help us, should all be besimcha and healthy and focused, and use our currency, which is time, in this world to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Another moment. It's the only thing that ever lasts. It's the only thing that stays. Shem Yazol. Kol Tov, and have a very, very good week. Tzlacha.